Welcome all of you risk takers and truth seekers in podcast Live Debunking. And today we're going to talk about very hot topic not many want to describe, talk, share, and most importantly, discuss in public. We're going to talk today about Satanism. Correct, Satanism. So today is going to be quite interesting episode. So feel free, let me know what do you think about Satanism at the end of the show down in comment section below. So can I ask you a question? Can you define Satanism for me? Who are the Satanists and what do they believe? The question is, do the Satanists actually exist? Do you know? And are they really a danger to civilization? There's a lot to learn, but how much do we actually know? Just so we're clear, I'm not the expert. Nonetheless, I will do my best to offer some solutions that I have formulated on my own. And I must share something with you in hindsight. I grew up in an environment where the black magic, Satanism, it was known to people, but there being the government and the people itself will impose harsh sanctions to people who are worshipping any type of the Satanism. So that being said, there's no simple way to define Satanism. I think that's a very pertinent subject at the moment. One common and widely adopted definition of Satanism is that worldview predicates on Satan. Satan, sometimes called the devil or Lucifer, is a demonic figure in Christianity who attempts to tempt people to sin or manipulates them. Now, the interesting thing I want you to remember, I want you to take this from this episode today. Think very clearly. Christian Church, Roman Catholic, spent so much money on proving that devil or Lucifer do not exist. They don't exist. Just ask yourself, how often do you see the devils or Lucifer or Satan being spoken by Roman Catholic Church? It's always about Jesus, about love, and everything else. Because the reason for that is because all the whiteness has the darkness. And same goes in Christianity, same goes in religion. Everything good has an opposite, bad or evil. In our world, we call this Satan, devil, or Lucifer. So it's a demonic figure who tempts people to sin or manipulates them. Contrary to the complex and comprehensive depiction of Satan found in Christian tradition and popular culture, Satan is a minor, vague figure in the Bible. As I said, okay, no harm done so far. If you were to ask Satanists, nevertheless, what they think, would you believe them? The first and foremost fact to grasp is that the vast majority of Satanists do not believe in or worship Satan. They reject the idea that Satan exists outside of human understanding. Satan represents the modern Satanist ideals of autonomy, intelligence, bravery, power, and pleasure. Of course it is pleasure. In contrast, there is no deity worthy of adoration. Neither spirituality nor faith are present in Satanism. We take a great pride in being secular, atheistic society. Now, when I was an altar boy, and I was an altar boy in 70s and 80s, in beautiful country then called Yugoslavia, today my country, Croatia, I was an altar boy. And I have a great priest there. His name was Mateo. And I always ask him, does the devil exist? Does this exist? I always have the questions. And he just looked at me. I'll never forget his facial expression. He told me, listen, Mario, what do you think what the teacher's calling you a little devil? I was like, why? He said, because you're naughty or this and that. And I was naughty. I was very bad. But in church with my priest, I was very, very good because he represented a father figure in my life and somebody who really loved me for who I am. And I said to him, but what's up? Really, devil exists? And he always told me, as long as there's a light and love in your heart, you don't need to worry about Satanism. And when I asked him about who are the people who worship in Satanism, he told me, you're going to discover this later in your life. And discovering in my late 40s and now 50s. Now, come back in topic. In 1966, Anton LaVey established the Church of Satan, whereas San Francisco, and 3 years later released the Satanic Bible, a compilation of essays and rituals that has come to serve as the core scripture of the religion. So he established 1966 Church of Satan in San Francisco, and 3 years later released the Satanic Bible. Well, the Bible itself is a dawn of humankind, as you know, and depicting the human society and everything around human society. But then you have the guy who comes 2,000 years later and says like, okay, let me open the Church of Satan and I'm going to write the Bible. It's called the Satanic Bible. LaVey hated the Christian church, and he hated the growing peace and love movement even more. He was also a strong believer in the power of the person and wrote extensively on the topic. The public has naive understanding of Satanism. Trust me. Then there is Satanism, which enjoys widespread notoriety despite its wild practices, which includes murder, animal sacrifice, drug abuse, and sexually deviant rites. Yes, such people do exist, but the Satanism that contemporary society should be most terrified of is not nearly as nasty as is portrayed in media. While many might dismiss Satanism as a fringe belief, the reality is that many more people accept its teaching that no one suspects. You know, everyone's going to turn towards something, some belief or some type of faith if you give them the answer on two things. Number one, how I can gain the power, money, and being, famous, and list goes on, right? And secondly, how I can beat possible death, how I can live longer. So people will turn themselves and they're going to surrender themselves. And I've witnessed so many times to the many different teachings. Like this guy, 1966. I opened my Church of Satanism and I wrote the Bible, and people come to me because I just wrote the Bible, which suit my narrative, not yours. But people will usually turn themselves, doesn't matter to what or who, just to gain those two things, either as a power and money or longer life. And now you think yourself, what is the life itself? By design. It's to be born, to live and die. And those who believe in karma or karmic universes or, whatever they call them, you're going to come back one shape or form or another. If not, that was your life. Many individuals do it subconsciously, but a deliberate practice is gaining popularity. Fundamental to Satanism is antipathy against the God of the Bible and its moral code. The principles of Satanism can be found in every belief system, scientific theory, and social movement that shares two traits. Therefore, Satanism is one of only two ethical frameworks in a cosmos. Yes, contrary to what you may have seen in movies or on TV, the modern Satanism is not a pretty religion. In reality, it's a religion that has been developed to serve a huge population, and it's widely recognized and practiced. Satan's alleged words, I enable all people to follow their passion and demands of their own nature, and whoever opposes me will bitterly regret it. Right. Form one of the central tenets of this faith. Take this into account. Easy to understand, and it's liked by a large number of individuals. The second portion of the commandment is a threat. Yet God in Bible is sometimes portrayed. The second portion of commandment is a threat. Yet God in the Bible is sometimes portrayed as issuing threats and warning to those who stand in his way. There is no denying that the modern satanic movement is an open challenge to the biblical doctrine of one God. Seeing Satan as the enemy of humanity, he encourages hatred towards Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Satanists, on the other hand, will insist that they have every right to oppose the faiths, if only because they aim to wipe out Satanism. Satan's second law is, 3 things I loathe and 3 things oppose me, a reference to the 3 monotheistic ideas that make up the biblical Holy Trinity. According to Satanism, Satan made everything, including earth and humans. Interesting enough. Satanism is a polytheistic religion. Yes, Satan is worshipped as a god by Satanists. Still, Satanists have to pay homage to a slew of other deities that answer to him. We are dealing with demons here. Naturally, no one else is deserving of as much or more praise as Satan. When it comes to the monotheistic, however, this is not the case, as there is only one God worthy of worship. Unlike monotheist faiths, Satanism doesn't have a central text that all adherents must read and follow. If you follow Satanism teachings, I'll lead you on the straight path without any book. You'll never go lost. It sounds like many entrepreneurs coaching you on the internet. Yeah, right. I lead you on the straight path without any book. You'll never go lost. Of course, you need to have a book. Of course, you need to have facts, references, cross-references. But in Satanism teachings says, no need a book to be on my path. At first look, this seems like an odd assertion, but it has to do with the reality that Satanic teachings may be found in many different places through history and canon. This has nothing to do with any book. Many of you may be familiar with the Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, yet current Satanism rejects it as outdated. 50 years later, outdated? Although LaVey acknowledged Satan, he saw him not as a person, but as a symbol for the energy of human needs and wants. Needs and wants. This is something that modern Satanists, prophets insist is not true. They claim to have had personal interactions with the Satan. Sure they do. They reiterate, Satanism affirms man as he is by nature and promotes the pursuit of one's own whims and fancies. Interesting statement. These beliefs run counter to biblical teaching concerning the first sin and the fall of man. Yet they flatter people because they make them feel that they don't need to change or be better. A person's gradual but steady transformation into a monster is the direct result of his belief that he can follow his own impulses and fallen nature without any consequences. And as soon as I mention Satanism, my mind immediately goes to the occult. How did Satanism become linked to the occult? Well, let me answer this one. Satanists have a keen interest in the paranormal. Without him, their faith is empty. Occult practices and beliefs are used by Satanists to forge a bond with the devil and the demonic forces he commands. This is how they increase their strength, knowledge, and other attributes. Ultimately, they are the primary motivations for engaging in the religious practice. A desire to gain insight into a control over one future, and more crucially, a yearning to maintain emotional ties with the loved ones who have passed on. You probably know that this can be achieved through various yogic and meditative practices, spiritual meetings, occult board meetings, readings, and so on. You know, as a kids, they have all this, what they call them, the boards, where you can call the spirits and everything else. That's what they're using. That's what they're using, actually. It's interesting enough, anyway. But that being said, secrets that they are threatened with a death to keep are also revealed after being learned through occult practices. Many people who participate in occult senses end up in terrible situations, yet they are pleased with the outcomes. Of course, you are pleased. Imagine somebody tells you, come on that location, and we're gonna do initiation of you, whatever they do, dancing naked, and certainly they are not happy as a SpongeBob. One thing I learned in my life and through my life experience, everything in life, it's been run by symbols. Even religion, Catholic or Muslim or the Buddhists, they all use the symbols, colors, and everything else. When we're talking about Satanism, they are very, very different type of the objects and different type of signs and symbols and the colors and everything else. But can you imagine when somebody says to you, come there, and then you give it obviously to drink a little bit blood? Of course you're gonna feel special. Of course you're gonna think, oh my God, I done something like nobody else can do it. Everybody can do it. It's just a lack of belief and faith in yourself. If you need somebody gives you promise that you're gonna talk to the different worlds and that you're gonna be superpower, supernatural, you're gonna be surrounded with all these mystical symbols and everything else, protected just because you drink the blood and have the or whatever, dancing naked. No, you're not. There's a statement being made by one of the priestesses. She claims that the demons will attack anyone who summons them for amusement or personal gain. These assaults could lead to madness or even death. Conversely, those who approach demons with reverence and who desire to be obedient to them can reap many pecuniary and other benefits from occult practice without endangering their mental health. Most people grossly underestimate the influence and popularity of Satanists. Satanists are actually so influential that they run practically every nation and every worldwide political economic body. Yet few people know this. But we can see on social media that things are changing. People are noticing, people are not happy. And I was like, but what we're gonna accept, what we don't gonna accept, it's up to every and each individual. We grow up in different times. Me, I'm 50 years old. There was different morals and ethical approaches to life. There's what today is considered normal, then was not considered even wildest dream. But today it is. But Satanists are very influential. And they literally run practically every nation. The leaders of this movement claims that they were about to enter the most trying and emotionally charged time in human history. We are currently living in what's being dubbed the Age of Aquarius. They foretold a worsening economy, widespread fatalities, and devastating natural disasters. That's we are living right now, in Age of Aquarius. Now, please feel free to ask questions, make comments, or otherwise engage with this issue if it piques your interest. If you like to know more, let me know, and we're going to do more extensive episode on some of these topics we mentioned today of Satanism. Thank you.